Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is Davo from Esports, bringing you another 1v1 StarCraft 2 cast today. This time on MLG Daybreak. In the bottom left-hand corner today, we have none other than Destiny, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with. And in the top right-hand corner, we have VileState, who is our pink Protoss today. Excellent. So a little bit of trivia about our players. VileState is an American player, and he has won over £2,000 from, or $2,000 I presume. I need to stop doing all my Britishness from actually Esports so far, so he's doing very well, and he does look like as a Protoss he'll be going straight into blocking off for his natural expansion, which is a pretty common tactic against players. They do like to get their expansion up pretty quickly, just so they can kickstart their macro nicely. Meanwhile, Destiny in the bottom left hand corner, I'm going to presume that he'll be taking his expansion fairly shortly, but hey, it's still yet to be seen. So anyway, a little bit of trivia now to do with Destiny. He is also an American player. He is 23. He's known for his bad manners and controversy, which I really like him for. He's a really good streamer. He's very popular, actually. He dislikes condiments on his food, apparently, which is pretty interesting. I mean, I personally am partial to mayonnaise, just so you know. Lately, him and Liquid Chef have managed to raise £32,000 for charity by doing a 24-hour stream. Wow, VVV Rocker is not impressed, and he has left the game only 2.5 minutes in. Why do you join a game as a spectator and then just leave so quickly? Unfortunate, eh? So it does look like Destiny will be taking his expansion right about now as well. There we go. Awesome. So that is essentially it, really. As far as introductions are concerned, if you don't know Destiny, I mean, you should really check out his streams. He's a very funny guy. He's one of these people who, I believe, puts some light into StarCraft, you know, really helps it get a kind of comedic and fun edge, and I really like that. It's really good, because StarCraft can become kind of serious at some points, you know, especially when you've got players such as Idra who take their game so seriously, and really go to town on each other for all sorts of different reasons. But anywho, we do have Destiny finishing off his block in. Here it does look like he's going to be sticking a Zealot or something in there just to complete that fully, but still give himself some mobility so he doesn't hand over map control completely to the Zerg. Excellent. Okay, and speaking of map control, I mean, generally speaking, at this point in time, Destiny's map control is a little bit better, seeing he does have the watchtower directly outside of his opponent's base, so he will know when the Protoss player moves out. Also courtesy of this Overlord here, which should also see it too, but the Overlord is moving away and is rallied round to the back of the base as well, which can always be pretty useful for various things. Later on in the game, it could be made into an Overseer and drop off a Changeling, or in more extreme cases, can spot for a good location to put a Nidus Worm, which is something that you don't see very often, unfortunately, even though Nidus Worms remind me very heavily of the game Dune. If you guys ever played it, of the strategy game Dune, you know, with the big worms. I think it was Dune 2000, Dune 3000 or something. That was awesome. I loved that game. It was really cool. But, I mean, generally speaking, it really wasn't up to the same standard as StarCraft. Obviously. To be honest, it wasn't really up to the same standard as StarCraft 1 either, but StarCraft 1 is a very good game indeed. Also, I mean, I work in a game shop. Today, I kind of noticed that, basically, StarCraft 1 is still £10 in my game shop, alright? To give you a little bit of perspective here, if you guys aren't familiar with British money, £10 is about, I don't know, if you're buying relatively cheap bread, it's about, I don't know, 15 loaves of bread. That's quite a lot, you know. Also, StarCraft 2 actually costs $29.99 or £30. So, I mean, it really shows that StarCraft 1 has actually valued, well, it's aged well. I mean, yes, the graphics are what many would call terrible. But I don't think the graphics on StarCraft 1 are terrible. For the time, they were ingenious. It was an excellent game. And to be honest, I still enjoy it to this day. I never really played it online properly, which is obviously something I really should have done. From my experiences now, I do know that. One thing I always remembered about StarCraft 1 was how cool the siege tanks used to sound. Like, they used to sound like somebody stabbing a piece of cheese. As the cheese exploded, it was like a shaboom! It was cool. It was really cool. That was one of my favourite parts, I actually think. Yeah, good game. Excellent. Really, really sorry about the video glitch, which you may have just seen. Basically, lately, I have been dying a little bit. I know it's not the best thing to tell your audience that you're not particularly well, but hey, sometimes these things happen, so I had to, not literally dying, of course, I had to pause the game and just go and get myself something to drink, otherwise I would have choked and died. Ew, not nice times. Anyway, what doesn't look nice is whatever is happening on top of this hatchery to make it into a layer. It is throbbing. It looks like a really, really infected part of someone's body, which I won't name which part I believe it looks like that is possibly infected, but I tell you what, that is not tasty. No siree. It does look like this phoenix will go down, but I'm not actually sure if that was a real phoenix or not. I think it was a real phoenix, as it wasn't a tinge of blue. And VileState does have a Stargate right about now, going a very curious build at the moment. Immortals with Void Ray and Phoenix as well, which is really, really cool. I really like it. Kind of going down 2 tech trees at once. We are 9 minutes into the game. I've wasted a lot of time talking, so here we go. Let's get into the game properly. Woohoo! We do have the Protoss getting his +1 armor up right now, and going down the 3rd tech tree as well by getting a Twilight Council out as well, which is good because it means anything is on the cards. And to be honest, as a Protoss against Zerg, I always like to keep everything and anything on the cards as well, just to make sure that you have the element of surprise ready for your opponent. Here we do Destiny doing what is known commonly as the Wall of Crawl, and it can be rather impenetrable, especially when the ramp that the Wall of Crawl is on top of is so short like this. Of course, VileState could destroy this destructible debris if he wanted to, which would make the ramp a bit wider, make it a little bit easier to attack, but that is still yet to be seen in this game. We do have both players macroing up pretty nicely. We're getting the 2nd weapons upgrade for our Protoss player right now, VileState. Protoss players do tend to really like getting that 3 weapons upgrade pretty quickly against Zerg, I've noticed as of late. And we do have Aspire just finishing for Destiny right about now as well. And of course, Mutalisks on the way, Mutalisks being the tremendous harassment unit that they actually are. VileState taking a 3rd base as well. Of course, being careful to protect it a little bit against some and getting some cannons and good stuff like that. Also getting some gateways down too, just to shield the cannon in, preventing any run by, taking out the cannon like mass Zergling or anything like that. But we do have Destiny getting quite a lot of Mutalisks out, so State will not have to worry too much about any sort of Zergling pressure. He will, on the other hand, have to probably get some anti-air units other than these Void Rays, because the Void Rays will suffer pretty badly against the Mutalisks. In fact, generally speaking, it would be a great idea if State got some High Templars with Psystorm, or indeed Archons at this point in time, to deal with the Mutalisk threat that is going to come in from Destiny. Luckily, as an eye in the sky, as we are commentating, we know exactly what is going on, but State might not have that privilege. There are various things you can anticipate in the game, but some things you just need to scout. And of course, here we do have an attack coming in from Destiny right now, and it does look like he'll be revealing his Mutalisk hand and attacking the probes in the mineral line and pulling out pretty quickly as well. He does not want to go into that ball, which has actually since gained some Phoenix and a couple of Stalkers, especially these High Templar here looking particularly menacing against those Mutalisks. It would be pretty bad if the Mutalisks got caught up in that. That could be pretty terrible as well. Just a quick side note as well, Blizzard have recently announced that they are going to be going to be increasing the range of the Phoenix, which should make them a little bit more effective against Mutalisks, which is really, really nice. I believe that'll make them be able to get to kite Mutalisks, which, with effective micro, will shut down most Mutalisk harassments where they stand. But it is still yet to be seen. Phoenixes aren't the most used Protoss unit ever. This amount of Stalkers, will have to be kind of careful soon though. I mean, Destiny is getting awfully close to that kind of critical mass of Mutalisk that can really, really punish a player. VileState, on the other hand, is actually getting Blink as well, and of course Blink is a really, really useful upgrade against Mutalisk, because you do all your damage, Mutalisks start flying away, and what do? You blink afterward. You blink after the Mutalisks, and you kill a hell of a lot of stuff. Excellent. So we do have yet more Mutalisks on the way for Destiny as well. It just looks like he's going really, really heavy Mutalisks right about now, and who can blame him? Mutalisks are freaking awesome. The +2 weapon armor, coming out for our VileState player today. And the Blink Stalker's just finished now as well, which of course very, very effective against the Mutalisks. At the moment, I think Destiny has an advantage in the way that Mutalisks are so difficult to deal with as Protoss. Ooh, but that Blink will help State quite a lot. Ooh, I wonder who will win here. Crikey. Okay, so Destiny going in there and losing quite a lot of Mutalisks to those Blink Stalkers. Sorry, that's really unclear commentary that I just did right about then. These Mutalisks are actually kind of pincered. They don't really want to move around here, but they do get out by going right down into the bottom right-hand side of the map and then flying further down as well. And it doesn't actually look like State will be able to do any more damage against Destiny's Mutalisks at the moment. Ooh, but there are some nasty Psy Storms. A little bit of Mutalisk goes flying, and it does look like most of the Mutalisks will make it out alive. They will need to be very, very careful to avoid being shot down by these Blink Stalkers, which of course are very, very mobile and have very good opportunities to give chase. This Mutalisk force being kind of chased about the army by the large Protoss force that we can see right now. Our Protoss player has actually got 190 supply, which is quite a lot as well. Destiny coming in here trying to do a little bit of harassment, then backing out quite quickly. If this Mutalisk here on the end is not careful, which he is because he's been carefully micro back. Wow, that's so many Mutalisks. Crikey, as many Australians would say. Please don't hate me if you're Australian and you think I'm being horrible. I'm not. I'm sorry. Oh dear. Anyway, I promise I'm not. Anyway, okay, so we do have a massive wall of crawl here being attacked by quite a lot of Protoss units. Immortals, luckily, very, very good against units that do a lot of damage, such as Spine Crawlers. We do have Mutalisks basically annihilating an expansion here, which is more or less cannon land. So it does look like we're going to have some sort of base trade going on at the moment. These Mutalisks do have to be kind of careful, though there are a lot of cannons here at the moment. Also, this Protoss army is absolutely destroying Destiny's third base, and it will probably go on to destroy this fourth base if indeed VileState does actually know it is there at all. These High Templar do need to get at the back of the army, but luckily the Stalkers just blink in front of the High Templar instead. And it does look like the High Templar have actually been taken down. Yeah, it does look like they don't exist anymore. They are now an Archon. Hooray! And the Wall of Crawl actually paying its dues and doing quite a lot of damage. Unfortunately for Destiny though, State has quite a lot of Void Rays, and despite the huge range Spine Crawlers have, they cannot shoot up. Now these Overlords here are going to have to be really, really careful. These Mutalisks coming in to cover the Overlord's escape. Basically, you don't want to lose too many Overlords. It's really hard to see what's going on because the amount of Overlords. I think perhaps that is a tactic by Destiny, trying to limit his opponent's ability to micro properly with how many Overlords he's got. I have noticed that Destiny is very, very good at pulling victories out of the bag when all else seems lost as well. And using some fairly, like, what I would call wacky tactics in order to do it. I really, really like that. Because it makes games very interesting indeed. Quite a lot of economic damage has been sustained by VileState at his third base. But also the number of Mutalisks has been thinned down greatly too. And the flat-out base trade did actually swing into the favour of VileState, as he was able to take down the hatchery, whereas Destiny wasn't able to take down the Nexus fully, but that does look like it's about to change. Boom! There goes the Nexus. Goodbye, Nexus. Again, we do have lots of Stalkers coming up here that do look like they'll be trying to chase the Mutalisks, and we don't see a blink after them just yet. And we have a 5th base, a 4th base even, coming from our Protoss player right about now, which is perfectly on time. About 20 minutes is the right time to be getting your 4th base, of course, to be supporting your economy. Destiny, on the other hand, is getting his 5th base, as Zerg players do like to have much more economy than quite a lot of other players, quite a lot of other factions even, i.e. Terran and Protoss. I say quite a lot, but there's only 2. Come on, Dave. Oh dear. Okie dokie. So Stalkers and various army units are attacking these destructible rocks right here, and that is very good as well, because it does mean that there is a 3rd path to each other's bases on MLG Daybreak. As we can see here, we have a path here, so that's 1. These are the default paths that are not blocked. There's a 2nd path there, which is another default path which is not blocked, and then we have another one here, and that leads me back to the zoning, the topic of zoning. Let's put it like that. For example, if I was a Terran, I'd stick siege tanks, I don't know, here, in order to stop my opponent from coming through this area of the map, and I'd stick siege tanks here to stop my opponent from coming through this side of the map. So basically, I'm very much limiting them to drops. Basically, it's just opened up another avenue for the players to have to deal with, and the amount of zoning they need to do. Unfortunately, quite a lot of the units in StarCraft 2, despite they're quite strongly zoning orientated in StarCraft 1, i.e., I don't know, siege tanks aren't actually, in my opinion, as good as they once were. Back to the siege tanks. I loved siege tanks. The way they sounded was so cool. The way they work now, I mean, you have to have a lot of siege tanks to damage a big Protoss ball. So there we go. I mean, really, don't know what, I've gone on a huge tangent. I'm really sorry about that. Owie, owie, owie. You could have thought that maybe a probe could stand here instead of this expensive immortal, but you know what? He is happy, he is chilling, we're all good. More Mutalisks on the way for Destiny as well. Not changing up his tactics a whole lot, but he is going to be grabbing his 5th base? Yeah, his 5th base right about now as well, which of course will aid him greatly in the struggle against the VileState toss. Yeah! We have an infestation pit on the way from Destiny as well. Infestors are one of his key strengths. He's very good with infestors. He's very good with fungal growths as well. So we'll see how that can aid him in this battle. Yet another spectator leaving the game. Unfortunately, these cannons do look like, ooh, they're going to go down, but then a High Templar responds in kind with a nice storm, which can, of course, be very deadly to Mutalisks, because they are actually light biological units, which is the same as Marines and Zerglings, and everybody should know how easily Marines and Zerglings get killed by Psystorm. Basically, everybody should know. Protoss units don't suffer so much against Ice Storm, but generally speaking, Zerg units and Terran units suffer quite badly. Boom! There goes the Templar Archives. It does not look like State will be making many High Templars anytime soon. Destiny just generally being kind of annoying, destroying those pylons as well, which again can be very annoying for Protoss players to deal with. But there is a valid argument that says that Protoss players actually don't have to remind themselves to build pylons so often. Ooh, and these Archons just getting in here. Ooh, they'll be doing quite a lot of damage, especially if those High Templar get a hold of those Mutalisks. Yeah. There's an argument that basically Protoss players don't have to remind themselves to build pylons so regularly because the pylons have a use, i.e. powering the buildings, whereas supply depots just kind of sit there. And I mean, there's only so much scouting you can actually do with an Overlord. Or indeed groups of Overlords. They are quite squishy, they're very slow, they get shot down rather easily as well. These storms that are going down are really nicely accurate from VileState. He's dealing with the Mutalisk harass quite quickly. If Destiny doesn't do something here. This could turn out to be a GG pretty quickly from Destiny, I believe. I mean, we do have, wow, so many muters coming in from Destiny as well. They do look like they'll probably be taking out this expansion as well. I mean, against this many Mutalisks, cannons don't mean shit, unfortunately. So it does look like we're yet again in another base race scenario. I would put the UI down, but that would basically mean that I wouldn't be able to quickly ping to both locations on the map. More Mutalisks on the way for the Mutalisk pool of Destiny's, and it does look like VileState will be heading into Destiny's 4th base. And to be honest, if State kills this base, I'm not sure what Destiny is actually going to do. State also needs to be kind of careful about those High Templars. They are really, really good damage dealing unit. Yeah, he's just going to morph them into Archons instead. It doesn't look like it's going to turn into a base race right about now. But at this moment on time, my money is on VileState. Namely because the Blink Stalkers are so mobile and powerful against Mutalisks. Wow, also, Destiny doesn't actually have a mining base, which, of course, is kind of detrimental. Yes, in one way, you could say that VileState does not have a mining base either, as, well, there's no probes here. There's not even a Nexus here anymore, there's just rubble. But here we go, we do have the Stalker force coming in, and do look like they'll be coming to try and kill this big Mutalisk force as well. But you have to remember that Mutalisks, over time, can very, very easily heal themselves up. And when I say very, very easily, they just literally heal themselves. There's nothing to it. So Destiny is going to have to start long distance mining if he wants to be able to stay in this game right about now, and that is where you go to a mineral line that is far away from your base and bring some minerals back, and that does look like what he's going to be doing. So it does look like this could end up to be a rather epic game, but ouch, quite a lot of Psy Storms going down on those Mutalisks right now as well, and that cannot be good news for Destiny at all. Ooh, nearly running into Archons as well, getting trapped between some Archons too, getting trapped between an Archons, and more Archons. Ow, holy hell, that one has 13 kills. Jeez, that is a lot of kills. And another Protoss army, the same Protoss army pretty much coming in here from State as well. At this point in time, Destiny does look in trouble, and he is actually going to GG. And he does leave the game. And there we go, and the players that are watching that, EG in control. EG Machine, very, very good players indeed. Yeah, very good, very nice. Alright guys, well, thank you very much for watching. I'm sorry about my various blabberings, but hey, you know what, that's just part of what I like to do. Yeah, if you liked it, make sure you subscribe, comment and like, not necessarily in that order. If you didn't like it, don't worry about that, or leave a negative comment or dislike, I don't particularly mind. Okay, just as long as it's like in the form of feedback, that'd be kind of nice. Okay, awesome guys, well thank you very much for watching again, have a lovely day and enjoy playing StarCraft, and I'll see you next time, bye bye.